Did you? Okay. All right, Meshtastic. It's a layer on LoRa. LoRa's been around for a while in the IoT world. I became interested in it about 2 years ago. Not so much in the amateur space, but in the unlicensed band. It is available in 70 centimeters in Australia and the 915 industrial. I think it's the ISA band, so it's unlicensed. It seems to have had a phenomenal, I can't work out how or why, but Brisbane seemed to be the epicenter. Then it spread to Sydney, then it spread to other parts of the world. And Meshtastic is a meshing protocol, obviously. Let's see. This is not working. And basically, it allows you to send short messages, GPS locations, environmental data, interface to other equipment. Now, the devices themselves cost about between $30 and $50. They're tiny. Some have GPS in them, some don't. They're mostly ESP32s. They have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, although you can't use Bluetooth and Wi-Fi at the same time. Bluetooth is a very effective way to communicate to these devices. Once they're established out in the field, they forward packets to each other. So you basically turn them on in a room or an area where there's line of sight, and they all talk to each other. They're very effective at handling bandwidth. There's not too many clashes, not too many overloads. I think there was a computer show in Vegas that had 300 Meshtastic devices, and that caused a crash. But they changed the modulation method, and it quite happily worked.
Over 300 units?
Yeah, there was a computer show. Yeah. Yeah, they changed it. Okay, there's a number of modulation methods, for want of a better description. There's the default, which is long fast, which is optimized for distance and reasonable speed, and there's short fast. And what they did in Las Vegas when they had the clash was they changed it from long fast to default to short fast. And, yeah, they're reaching saturation point. And that seemed to work pretty well for them. Now, a lot of these devices have GPSs in them. They have environmental sensors in a lot of them. They have temperature sensors, and some of them can do some really funky stuff like counting passing people. The Bluetooth and Wi-Fi go into sniff mode, and they pick up people walking by and make a list of their MAC addresses, and it can count them.
Isn't that what the council is doing in some intersections on stage 2?
Potentially. There is the council's very strong on LoRa, and as I understand it, but not so much Meshtastic. What else? Okay. It's a mesh network.
DC power comes from somewhere else.
DC. They're very low power devices. They usually have charging controllers and regulators built into them. So basically, you can put a $20 solar cell on an 18650 cell, and this device, yeah. In actual fact, some people throw them into trees in little boxes and stuff, and then when there's an emergency or whatever, and they all talk to each other, and because they've got a GPS in them, you can come back and get them. If you can't find one, they're a $50 item, $30 item, so who cares?
Could you put an external infrared temperature onto that so you could read that temperature data and send it back?
People put all sorts of sensors on them, open closure sensors, remote data gathering. The only thing it doesn't work well in is large amounts of data. It doesn't have a lot of bandwidth.
No, that's beautiful. You can narrow it down. So
yeah. People have tried to put TCP/IP over it, and the ping times are really big. And what's the point? Modems are cheaper. The MQTT protocol will extend the range of these things infinitely, really, across the internet. It can be your phone, it can be a dedicated internet connection. Everything's built into the device.
What was it originally developed for?
I don't know. It's looking for a use, I think, other than emergency decentralized comms. Yeah, that's with the case on. The actual device is tiny. Sorry.
So it works like packet radio, is that correct? Like
I've been talking to a guy in I think he's in near Washington this morning, and he described it as APRS Lite, but it's a lot more sophisticated. Just get this guy up. When you spend your $30,
do you have links for the actual devices you're using?
sure. Yeah. It's at the end of the display, but that's the device. That's the 915 meg antenna. There's the display. It's got the charging circuit on the back. This one isn't, but sorry to keep walking off screen. This is another device with what they call a white paper display. The display is active for up to 3 months. Yeah, so these things can actually go to sleep, wake up once a week, once a day, once a second, whatever you want. And yeah, so they can sip power. You can run them off dry cells. What's really good about them is the charging controllers are built in. Virtually any type of battery you put on it, providing it's within the correct voltage range, it'll look after it. It'll report back the temperature, environmental stuff. You can manage the nodes. Yeah, you can allocate a master for a node and say, I'm going to look after you. By the way, I haven't mentioned this yet. It's got built-in AES-256 encryption. So reasonably secure, yeah. And you can encrypt the traffic between your two nodes. If you're having a private conversation, the app will generate a QR code that you can share with a friend of yours, and it's built into the app. I live in Cooperoo, and I can hit a guy in Wynnum, one hop, that one there. I don't have line of sight. All I can say is it's probably jumping off one of the buildings behind me and reflecting. But these devices, as I said, forward packets, and you can trace the route. You can look at the link. You can look at the power levels. And from Cooperoo to Wynnum is one hop. I believe BDARS has got a couple of repeated mode devices up on their facility, Mount Cotton, and there's a couple up on the border ranges. There's a couple up the north coast. I'll show you in a few minutes where the activity is. It's really, really interesting. These people who've become involved are not radio amateurs. So basically, they buy a device, blow it up, install it. But now we've got people who are non-amateurs using VNAs to trim antennas in the 915 meg band. So I thought that was a pretty good evolution in 12 months.
Well, that's interesting.
It does. It does. The 915 megs is a really interesting band. It's when you hit metal and stuff, it's like a mirror. Well, That's been my experience. I don't know. You gentlemen are more experienced.
Yeah.
Even with walkie-talkies, I've had commercial radios, and they were working in places they shouldn't work in years gone by. Okay, what else?
Australia never 900 for radio,
No, no. But this is the hardware is totally replicated in the 70 centimeter band. You have to order the module for 70 centimeters. There's 3 bands basically: 70 centimeters. I think there's 850 megs, which is with the requirement, the ISM band in some countries, and the 915, which is here. And yeah, they behave the same software, same settings. Yeah, they basically mesh up. You can disappear off the grid. You can talk to devices that you know and no one else knows. When you go into the amateur radio mode, you have to turn the encryption off because the default channel has got a 4-digit passkey that everybody knows. And when you go into amateur mode, the passkey goes away, but power levels go up. They actually give you a boost in power level. So I found that really interesting. Okay. Yeah, well, like I said, talking about this earlier, you can just throw them around basically, and yeah, because they're so dynamic, they talk to each other, and you can find them afterwards. Let's have a look. Okay, look. Okay. Category. I've got about. It was that. Well, I know it's at $50, $60 these days. I got them lying around in the house. It's like, the Raspberry Pi requires a bit more programming interaction. By the way, these devices can be set up through a web browser, just Chrome, USB-C, Chrome. You're done. Yeah, no more mucking around with serial ports and stuff like that. You can actually also, you got to have a real USB-C cable though, not a charging cable. So you got to pay $10 for the cable, not 50 cents. What else? You can only have Bluetooth or Wi-Fi going exclusively because it's the one antenna, it's the one pigtail. There's lots of software out there to log data over time, so you can actually log radio links over weeks and see how the link changes, how obstructions change, and you can pick up trends, stuff you don't normally see in a regular radio environment. Unless you've got a cell tower, of course. I'm sure the cell tower people would have all that sort of info.
That's why I was asking earlier, if you put a link on each one section side, so many options, and you want to get into it, but you'd strike that.
There's, well, at $35 to $40, there is no wrong answer. And you find out by stumbling around, basically. And these devices act as repeaters. So wherever I go, I just take half a dozen of them, spread them around wherever I'm working. I go to University of Queensland to the Humbug meetup. That's been going since 1990. You've got people who are older than me there. And we play with Meshtastic. It's a real hot spot. I'll show you a live map in a few minutes of where the Meshtastic activity is. Yes, of course. Okay, give the device a long name and a short name, but every device has the equivalent of a MAC address. It's like a 4-digit hex. So even if you do nothing and just select the region, it'll look for Meshtastic FD56, whatever. Or you can make it coarse so people can't track you down. The role radio, it can be a client, a router, I think a quiet client, and a couple of other modes. So you can put it into a couple of private modes as well as the public modes. Yeah. Smart position. Yeah, if you have it in the back of your car, it's not going to broadcast if you haven't moved. It's going to wait for you. Yeah. Yeah, it looks at the GPS location. There's no hang on. He's still within the whatever. The modem preset, that's okay. So that's the modulation technique. Long fast is the default. Region, transmit enable, MQTT, enable Bluetooth. It will come up and throw a pairing code on the display. That's pretty much it. What I might try and do is, if the gods will allow us, is to show a map of where the Meshtastic activity is happening. Okay, let's try and do this a couple of ways. What I'm seeing online, and I'll show you them on this big screen, is there are 70 users in the middle of Brisbane Metro, 4 in Toowoomba, 2 up the North Coast. Basically, pick one. We can see what the device is. We can look at the hardware. We can see the stations that it's hearing. We can see the stations that it last updated. Green is MQTT connected across the internet. Blue ones are line of sight. They're usually pulled. I don't know. That'd be interesting. There are a lot of satellites out there because line of sight is really easy. I'd say a balloon would work fine.
Yeah, party balloons.
Do you need clearance from?
Yeah.
F. Okay. All right.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, well, you can have a quiet node if you want to have private conversations. Unless you've got a spectrum analyzer there, you're not going to see nothing. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's AES 256, they tell me. I've not seen it independently verified. Take it with a grain of salt. Send my credit card over it, but that's supposedly a pretty good level of encryption. The QR code makes it really easy. Basically, 2 mates share a QR code and they have private conversations online.
40-foot container full of meth your way.
I've heard that some of the radio comms technology they use is pretty good.
Wow.
Unfortunately.
That's a lot of people using it, isn't it?
Yeah. What are they using it for? People look at range stuff technically. It's not reliable. You do get an acknowledgement saying it was delivered. If you're going line of sight, it'll say acknowledged. If you're hopping via another node, it'll say picked up by another node.
So
Acknowledged.
You had
Yeah.
it was picked up by.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so, but even as a propagation, like, you know, 900 meg, what what's happening. If you said direct, you go, oh, there's activity going on there, but it also will tell you what's happening. And
Yes.
log that?
Yes, it does. The metrics is phenomenal. If you turn on logging, it'll tell you channel utilization. It'll tell you the hops. There is Grafana, the software that people use for mapping things. That's got an interface for it. So over a long period of time, you can look at all the hotspots. Yeah, probably changes in atmospherics, changes in, as I said, obstacles.
Yeah, how many people walk past different phone?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But the shopping centres are doing that now anyway. They've been doing that for a couple of years, but this makes it a $30 device, not a $100,000 device. So it is. I would encourage everyone to spend the $35 and not even buy a case. Those are homemade cases. I didn't make them, but someone else did. And yeah, just play with it and see how far you get.
So you have your own interface there? You have.
I've built my own firmware. The keyboard device is actually a touch screen and it's color. And the firmware for it isn't stable, but I've built the color version and it's like having a Windows interface. So I've done some mods to it. Yeah, and I want to play with 70 centimeters. I don't know, is Meshtastic even legal? Is LoRa legal on 70 centimeters for amateurs?
The EORP's down. I think if I...
And unencrypted. Yeah. So yeah.
More noise.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. These people I was talking about who have no previous experience, they're all buying Yagis and playing with the reflectors. And as I said, the VNAs, I find that fascinating. And they're all comparing antennas and they're saying, well, when you put a bit of insulating tape on the end of the antenna, that's going to change the SWR. They're all awake to that sort of stuff. And I'm going, wow. And then but then there are other people who want to buy 25-watt amplifiers, and they do sell them. And I mean, unless you got one at each end, it's not going to help you really, and it's line of sight anyway. So.
And then just defeating the purpose of having something that's so small anyway.
Oh, sure. Yeah, but those are the people who used to buy gold-plated connectors for their speaker systems and their modems, and make them really shiny, and that makes them faster. Yeah.
I was quite interested in why I asked about the infrared heat sink,
Yeah.
You can put these on certain parts of a racetrack.
Yes.
And actually measure the track temperature, and you get your barometric, your temperature around the actual temperature of the track. And because these are so cheap, you could place about half a dozen of them around. And then you can your laptop, and then you can download your data and correlate between 0.8 and 0.8.
Yeah.
Check your time temps, your lap times, the whole lot in that one section, and find out how much the tracks are grid.
You probably wouldn't even have to do much programming. All those sensors would be available off the shelf.
I got quarter of an air. So you look at the edge.
Yeah.
You put these things around the track and you
Well, trains have been doing that for ages for the wheels, because when a train wheel tire, whatever you call it, seizes up, all sorts of drama happens. So they've got sensors there that are accurate down to a couple of degrees. Yeah, you can actually hear them on VHF. If you know where the sensors are, you'll say, train 5, wheel 6, okay, in an American voice. Lots of it on YouTube.
Sure. Yeah, but it's interesting that a little bit
These devices are being used for an amazing number of things. The ESP32, there's one guy who's made an antenna that's got 12 of them, I think, and he can visualize where the Wi-Fi signal is. He'll overlay a visual picture of the room and you walking through it, and you know how Wi-Fi now has beamforming. As he's walking past with his phone, you can actually see the beam following him around. It's pretty. Yeah.
Does that, well, isn't that what VORs do? The aircraft ones? Didn't they do beamforming like that? So direction forming?
No, it was a bit different. No, it was a bit different. Yeah, it was more of a timing thing.
Wasn't like those routers through the area.
Yeah, beamforming, I guess, is my understanding is you're concentrating the energy in a particular.
Different phases, so it then actually points it.
Yeah. Well, sorry for the disaster, but that's pretty much it. I'll leave my contact details out. BDARS is doing a lot in their Discord group in this area. I haven't checked in for a couple of months because I've been too busy, but if you go to a BDARS meeting, they have a fox hunt to see who's brought the Meshtastic devices in their pockets. There's quite a few people there that are interested in it, so. And see that on cruise ships, don't you? Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Any other questions? Power levels 30 dBm rings a bell, and those are 6 dB antennas, I think.
Maybe should put one up at Mount Coot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even if it's just there temporarily. A lot has been done with solar. A lot of people are doing solar and batteries, environmental mounts for them to keep the batteries from exploding, getting too hot, keeping the moisture out, keeping the bugs out. Yeah. Well, LoRa itself is pretty well developed. As I understand it, I could be wrong, the council has those parking signs in town that say 20 minutes. Well, what you don't see is on the bricks, there's a LoRa-enabled sideways-looking radar.
No.
Yeah. And it knows exactly how long you've been sitting there. And I don't know whether they send someone over or they get a camera shot. You get a ticket in the mail.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
No.
Just put some curious stickers on the side of your car.
Yeah. Or Telstra. I used to have some phones.
Had a mate do that.
I can't do that anymore. I got a Camry, so yeah. So yeah, and LoRa, the council network actually allowed third parties to use it. I don't know if they still do. So you could actually move data, small amounts of data around on the public network. But that's not Meshtastic. That's same bands, different modulation, different technology, different outcomes.
Well, Peter, he bought one of these after we came back from Tasmania. And he's impressed how far he can't believe how far.
Are they Meshtastic? Is he on 70 centimetres or 915? Yeah.
It's there, is it? Hey.
You got a finger back. He's very good. He's got a T-deck. Is that the version 1 or version 2? Oh, wow. He's got as many as I have. He's showing off now. We're talking about. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Champagne.
You're getting more fingers. Can you guys? Yeah. So, yeah, the range is just, what can I say? And when you're getting 10% channel utilization on a busy day, there's lots of room there to drop in more traffic. And you talk to people. There's also a couple of BBSs that came up. I don't know what the point of a BBS online is. I guess it's just proof of concept. But there's a couple in Brisbane that come up and down.
Just playing with it, getting interested. Like say, now they're buying the little DNAs and tuning building antennas to get interest.
Yeah.
And then nothing just foster a lot furthermore.
Yeah. And maybe if you want to get people interested in amateur radio, you might use that as a bit of a hook.
Yeah, well, as I said, that young fella, Otto, he was right. And then he had a lot of friends that were into it as well.
Yeah, well, the nice thing about this tech is it's $50. You're up and running. It's a black box. Nothing else to do. Just power it up.
And start sending messages or just look at what's going on.
Yeah. Apparently, there's LoRa satellites, amateur satellites out there. I believe they're close scan TV off it. Yeah. But how long they'd be in view for, I don't know. It'd be a bit like the space station, like 8 minutes on a good day, if it's a low Earth orbiter.
I'll have to buy one there.
Yeah, well, BDAS has been having a couple of tech mornings on this, so I don't know how well attended they are. Sorry to keep harping on about it. I do like them. They have that remote HF transceiver up on the mountain that I use.
Who's got that?
BDAS, the club. Yeah. Because I live in Peru, I've got no place to put an antenna. I can pump 100 watts out, and it's just going to absorb the buildings around me. Whereas BDAS, I use the SDR software and get 100 watts off Mount Cotton, and I can run it off my phone.
Is it DMC turns up on occasionally? He uses it.
No idea. You got a book.
You got a book.
Yeah. I could. Well, it's not really VHF, but I could do a demo, but it'd be better organized than this one was. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, I guess. Has anyone's got any other questions? Yeah. Interesting tech. Who would have thought the distribution around the world would be what it is? And Brisbane's like... Okay, so you don't cause collisions. The devices are limited to 3 hops usually. You can put more hops on, but then you're making a nuisance of yourself. Technically, you can gateway through other points, but I have not tried going interstate or international.
So you can limit the convention is 3 hops.
Yes.
I thought different regions use different frequencies for LoRa.
You can set up favorites, and you can set up ignore lists, and you can set up special security. So there's a lot of rules, and that's changing weekly. I'll look at the menu on my iPhone or my Android, and I go, wow, that wasn't there last week. They're just adding features. And there's no reason why you can't develop commercial software. The designers of it designed it so that it could integrate with commercial software. So if you want to spend the time and effort and sell it and use that as a backbone, you're welcome to do so. It's open source. It's community driven. So you can. It's distributed globally. There's a couple of people in Brisbane that help maintain it as well. Yeah. It's 9:15. I don't know, actually. I don't know. It's too low for microwave ovens.
There'd have to be something out there, but it just works, doesn't it?
It does. It does. There is there's some discussion with the FCC in the US about, I don't know whether it's a radar altimeter or some sort of aircraft guidance from a commercial entity that wants to license some of the spectrum and in that region, and the FCC going, yeah, come on, talk dollars. And so the fact that this discussion is happening in a band that was previously open to all is a problem. Mm. Yeah, no, it's a shared band, no license if you stay below the limits. Just take what you're given, I guess. I was so surprised by Japan though. I just, even on that map, Japan's got two. I go to Japan quite regularly and I tried to buy some 23 centimeter gear there and they went, who uses 23 centimeter in Japan? But they have repeaters. They got a whole bunch of 23 centimeter repeaters as somebody's. I got a handheld, but I would like to have more than that. So I'm looking for a mobile or something. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's it, I guess. Sorry for the hassle. Thank you. Thank you, folks.